Fast food workers, what should we never order from you? I worked at a Japanese casual fast food restaurant, and we had this thing called a volcano roll. It cost $7.25. A California roll there cost $3.75. The volcano roll was a Cali roll cut into the shape of a triangle and topped with spicy mayo that has been heated up with about $0.10 worth of fish, literally just a few bits. You are much better off ordering a Cali roll and paying $0.50 extra for spicy mayo on the side and asking them to heat it up. I had one guy come in with his girlfriend and ordered a volcano roll, and when served in the restaurant, unless they ask us, we would put it on top so it looked nice, like a volcano. When I brought it over he was like, "Oh, I didn't know you guys put the sauce on. I've only gotten it for pickup, and the sauce is always on the side. I don't really like it. Could you bring me one without it?" I tried not to laugh and said sure. I went back, and the sushi chef asked what was wrong. I told him that he didn't like the sauce and want one without it. He laughed and said alright, so he took a Cali roll, cut it up, and put it on the plate. I brought it back to the guy, and he was super pumped. Basically this guy paid $7.25 for a roll that would have cost him $3.75 and me and the sushi chef got to split a free volcano roll. Point edit. Those of you saying that I should have just charged him for the Cali roll, it's something I normally would. I would often tell people about a lunch specials to save them money and would often give extra sauce out for free. But this guy was kind of being really arrogant. I explained it a bit better when I told this story a few years ago. Ex-Sonic employee here. Don't order steak or grilled chicken. Evident get the new ultimate chicken sandwiches. They're insanely overpriced and the normal crispy chicken sandwiches taste better anyway. The best time to get fresh food is when the place is busy, as they're less likely to give you something that's been in the hold for an hour, or their hold will continually be fresh. If there's a sale going on for something like half-priced hot dogs or half-priced burgers, only order a reasonable amount if you want quality. If someone orders 20 burgers in the middle of a rush on half-price burger day, we give no fucks. We will throw that beach together so sloppily you'll barely be able to call it a burger. This doesn't apply to half-price corn dogs, however, as we're able to just make a bunch at a time anyway. Don't get the chili. It comes in a bag, gets warmed up in a metal tub, and then sits for 10 hours until we run out and replace it. It's also just not very good to begin with. Try the seasoned popcorn chicken. The BBQ and garlic parmesan flavors are actually really good. If you're allergic to any kinds of foods, be wary. Onions are in the same dressing station as the rest of the condiments and cross-contamination is not our problem. The same goes for peanuts with the shakes. If you're getting a milkshake, be aware that there are 3 different kinds and therefore 3 different prices. There's the normal shakes, the master shakes, and the new creamery shakes. The creamery shakes are actually good, just don't get the lavender one. And if you're getting a slushie, the same thing applies, only it's normal slush, candy slush, and real fruit slush. If you're at a stall and the card reader isn't working, just wait for the car hop to come out and give them your card. Don't call in again to ask why the card reader isn't working. Don't hit on the car hops. It's a shitty job and they have to put on a smile when they deal with you. They're not smiling because they like you, and if they do want to flirt with you for whatever reason, they will make it very clear. Sonics are dirty, at least in the region I worked. We were continually understaffed and expected to run the entire place with a small crew and clean. We do the best we can, but we don't get paid enough to stay after our shift and work off the clock cleaning up. It sucks, but that's the way it goes. When I worked there in Canada, McDonald's grilled chicken could sit there for a long time. So can the filet-o-fish. Usually they are on top of it, but shit happens. Don't be afraid to order those fresh if you worry it might be stale. Same with regular burger patties. They take like 40 seconds, it's no big deal. I've done a 4-hour shift and just forgot to throw out the old grilled chicken and make new ones because nobody ordered it and it had already went past the timer when I got on, so there was no beeping to remind me. It sounds stupid and it was. We're all human and humans are dumb. Though point, what you should order is fresh grilled chicken. Edit. Takes about 7 to 10 minutes, though. I used to time grilled chicken for my breaks because it was just that good. Also fresh cookies. Super gooey chocolate, soft and warm. Point edit. A large amount people in the responses I've got don't like asking special because they feel bad for the sometimes overworked cooks or worry they'll do something. I've been on both ends of the cook/consumer equation at MCD, so I completely understand. Point it does suck for the cooks, but it also sucks paying for stale food. The cooks will groan internally, but making 1 or 2 items food is honestly very simple back there, and if they serve dry food they know it, as they had to put it in your meal. Most employees honestly do care about the quality of the food they make, and won't mind making a new one. Just like how you feel bad asking extra of them, they feel bad serving old food. I've never seen anything purposefully malicious or spiteful done outside of lazily throwing the food together, though. Work at Jimmy John's, and my honest answer is that everything is always fresh, unless you have a terrible manager, and if that happens, corporate shuts you down immediately. Our meats are sliced in the shop, and are always refrigerated, and even then, they are sliced the day before most of the time. Same with the veggies and such. The real trick is knowing how to order your sandwich and save money. The Jimmy John's menu is specifically created to squeeze money out of its customers' pockets when you don't know how to order. Let me give you some examples. Are #2, 3, 4, BLT, 14, 16, and 17 all come without cheese. It is our least expensive product, and yet we charge 75 cents extra to put it on. If you are willing to pay that 75 cents, always ask for extra cheese if you want it. Sometimes prices vary from store to store, but most of the time 2 portions of cheese cost the same as 1. If you are getting a sub, 1 to 6, BLT, and you are wondering what the difference is between a sub and a club, 7 to 17, gargantuan, it is only that we got the bread and there are more meats and cheeses in it. You can often get relatively the same sandwich by adding as many freebies as you want to a sub and asking for LBI, which means leave the bread in. For example, a ham and cheese sandwich can come with extra mayo, cucumbers, tomatoes, lettuce, onions, mustard, sauce, oregano and hot peppers on a filet-inch sub, and still cost you $5. The only difference between that and a 6.49 club is a single serving of ham. Those are just a few, but keep that in mind when you order. Sorry for the tangent. Subway worker here. A veggie delight / kids pack / anything on wheat bread. The veggie delight doesn't have anything terribly wrong. It's just the same price as all the other subs. Seems like a waste to me. Even if you're vegetarian, must be better options out there. Kids pack. That sheet is expensive. The 4-inch sandwich for your kid with 1 slice of meat costs the same as the 6-inch I could give you with a drink, with 4 slices of the same meat etc. If you're desperate, get a cookie as add-on. The regular brown bread gets dry fast. If it's fresh, all the bread is good. Coming down to the end of the day, run from the sandpaper wheat bread. Ironically though, the bread that seems to stay freshest longest is the honey oat wheat bread. Not sure why. Things I do recommend: change your sandwich to a salad bowl. It's a pain in the ass for us to make, so I may regret this, but you get way more bang for your buck. Lastly, never order the roast chicken. It's alright, but I guarantee there is some specialty chicken going for a cheaper price. And to be honest, all we do is add the various sauces to the roast chicken, so it's basically the same thing, just cheaper and usually with juice out as add-on. Some Subways are really good with food prep and all that. They always keep it fresh, replace things on time, and actually throw out what they shouldn't keep. Others get limited funding and have to make them stretch. A good indicator is the cookies. Every Subway bakes them fresh first thing in the morning. If you walk in and there are some that look slightly older than the others, then that's because they are. Not sure if it counts, but I work at a Domino's and I have some advice. Very rarely do we take notice of no garlic, light / extra buffalo sauce, or well / lightly done so. If you order with any of those things, keep in mind that drivers usually prepare the food and box it out of the oven. Unless specifically told, it's difficult to spot the instructions given by a customer. Personally, I would never eat the brownies, as they are all pre-made, and, despite being sinfully delicious, are not worth it. The wings are delicious, but usually fall under the same buffalo sauce dilemma. I recommend ordering mild wings instead of hot, as the only difference is the volume of sauce. Premium chicken is a scam. The garlic cups are not the same as what goes on the crust, which is delicious. I would drink a whole bottle if I were ready to die, and gluten-free pizzas are cut with the same pizza cutter unless specified otherwise. Never order more than 2 toppings on a thin crust. The cutter will spread the cheese, and whoever prepares it will likely not bother to fix it. Never buy specialty pizzas, make them yourself in the creator. And lastly, if you saw how the parmesan bread bites were prepared, I don't think you would want to eat them anymore. That being said, I make about 15 of them a day, and I still eat them. And for a bit of good advice to brighten the mood, you can use your free pizza, with points, to get a pan or thin crust pizza, though it will cost $1 or $2. The same goes for extra toppings. For all my Canadian brethren out there, ex-Tim Hortons baker here. I worked the midnight shift at a location that had a high employee turnover rate, rightly so, as it was always understaffed and underpaid. Tips: coffee is supposed to be made fresh every 15 minutes. There should be a white marking on the pot indicating when it was last brewed. Look for the marking, make sure it's fresh. Coffee flavor deteriorates really quickly, and we don't mind making you a fresh pot, especially if we messed up and forgot to throw out an old batch. Decaf is hardly ordered in the mornings, so it's likely we'll have to brew a fresh pot or you're getting old product. If you want to order food, do it before midnight, as this is when we throw away the old donuts / buns / bagels, etc. They're usually sold to farmers who use them in their animal feed, so don't ask if you can have one of those old donuts for free. Our hands are tied. Fresh donuts are usually available at 2 to 3 am, maybe earlier if the location is somewhere popular and not understaffed, maybe later if the people in the front are lazy liars who don't want to make food. The general consensus for drive-through orders is don't order anything more than 4 coffees, at most, or 2 meals. The people on drive-through are strictly timed, and they get in trouble if they take too long. If you're ordering as a large group, please for the love of God go inside. Don't make huge orders after 9 PM. This is a time when the store is most understaffed. Usually all that's left is 1 or 2 if the location is popular, people in the front and 1 baker. If you see the baker up front or in drive-through, clad in all white, odds are the people in the front are really behind and called them off his / her routine. Forgive us if we get your order wrong and need to repeat it once or twice. If we take a long time making your order, more than 5 minutes, we'll usually offer you a free cookie. Don't count on it though. Information: during the midnight shift, bakers spending most of their time in a -20°C freezer, losing circulation in their hands prepping the frozen product onto cold metal trays. I can't speak for other bakers, but I sucked at making the sandwiches / bagels, as my mind is somewhere else actively tracking oven timers, while my hands are numb beyond belief. The donuts are never made from scratch. They are shipped to the store partially baked and frozen solid. They can be stored for months at a time. If people are bad at rotating new product to the back, hopefully this helps someone. I used to work at Raising Cane's. They only sell a couple things: chicken and fries, so that's always fresh. They were also super clean. I would not order anything with egg whites at IHOP, though. A few years back I went to IHOP with my then girlfriend. She saw on the menu that substituting egg whites for eggs in the omelets and stuff was an option. Healthier, lower calories. Now, you have to realize, when most people go to IHOP, they are not looking to be healthy. They are looking to set world record calorie and cholesterol levels. So egg whites are probably not ordered often. But my girlfriend was watching what she ate, and she is also the type to always heavily modify the menu. She almost never ordered straight off the menu. So she requests an omelette made with egg whites. The waitress seemed totally confused. In all honesty, I don't think she had ever heard someone order that before, and she may not have even realized it was an option. She said she would check with the kitchen. She came back a couple minutes later and said the kitchen crew were looking for some egg whites. Then about 10 minutes after that, she came back and said they found some egg whites, but they are going to take a while to thaw out. Do you still want them? Most people here would say no. Not my then girlfriend. She was like, great, thanks. Well, suffice to say, my girlfriend ended up with the worst food poisoning I've ever seen. She was vomiting every 45 minutes for almost 2 days straight. She had to be put on a fourth and prescribed this special skin gel that stopped vomiting. It was insane. In all seriousness, for a brief moment, I honestly think she considered that she might die. So, moral of the story is to not order anything at a restaurant that looks like someone never orders it. Which is also the message in the current top comment. I dunno. I ran 3 pizza places for 8 years, and I was incredibly all about proper rotation. If the product had a marked shelf life of 5 days, it was gone after the 3rd. We had a decent amount of frozen product, our meats, which were flash frozen, and even that fell under the same rule. The guy who owned the place hated that I did it, but my food cost only went up about 1%, and I had a bit of damn pride about making sure I wasn't serving shit. We had regular health inspections, and during all of that time, we never had a noted violation, and only 1 or 2 warnings about stuff that already had work orders in place to be repaired. It's funny, after I left there, I worked for a short time in a grocery store within the same district of the health inspector who came to my stores. He came back to check some of my logs and was surprised to see I was there and proceeded to tell me he wished I was back there because they suddenly had a bunch of violations. I live in a province where those things are now required to be posted online for anyone to see, and sure enough, I found a bunch of actual food related violations. Expired product. Apparently my successors were not as serious about food safety, and the actual owner convinced them that it was better to save money than be safe. Fortunately they have managers in place now that I used to work with, people who came back, and I feel okay to eat there. Not that I think many people are going to see this post, but understand that I didn't actually have to throw out a lot. I had carefully worked out my counts per day and rarely over prepped ingredients. The only times we really had to throw stuff out was when we were slower than expected, or the product was at the warehouse for a bit longer than usual. I had no desire to waste product if I didn't have to. Wings and anything deep fried from Pizza Hut. At my store we had several orders of wings every day and our store was pretty busy compared to the nearby Pizza Huts. They never would replace that oil we used, and it would be dark brown for a couple weeks. My store only changed the oil about once every 3 or more weeks despite all the numerous pieces of raw chicken and other fried foods cooking in it. After oil has been used to the point it is dark brown, it takes the chicken a bit longer to cook aside from it being very dirty with each use. Sometimes after the 2nd week of using the same oil I would notice the wings wouldn't cook as well and would be noticeably lighter than fresher oil, sometimes even a little undercooked. Of course our basket are on timer so no one would give a glance at how undercooked the chicken looked. None of the customers noticed really either, since almost everyone gets them covered in wing sauce. To put this in perspective, I used to work at the Walmart kitchen where they cook a lot of chicken and fried foods in the same looking fryers Pizza Hut uses. We would replace the oil twice a week. Managers were on top of that sheet as well, and the oil never got as dark as the oil we used at Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut cooked a lot more food in their fryers than my Walmart did. Every single night we would throw away trays and trays of fried foods. Very surprising to me when I saw this month after month at my work, a mix of managers being too lazy to switch out the disgusting oil and too cheap to use more oil at my store. I would not recommend the wings there or anything fried. I used to work at the Costco food court, got out, then decided to go back in. I don't know, I like the high-paced work environment. You can order anything you want up until we close, but after you're shit out of luck. For people who don't know, my Costco at least would be so packed after closing hours, say 6 PM on Sunday, that we would have customers in line for checkout till 6:30. Then they would straddle along to the food court and ask for a whole pizza. GG you can buy what we have on display, that's it. I just have this mentality, if we are open then we are open, rider. What you like I'm happy to serve you. If we are closed, pucker up because neither I nor my coworkers are gonna put our cleanup time in jeopardy. We take our sanitation, cleanup very seriously, that's how we were trained, and to put it frankly Costco treated us very well. So we worked diligently to return the favor. I wasn't a manager or supervisor to make such calls, but I was most senior during closing times and highly respected. I told my coworkers I'd anyone got pussy tell them talk to me. Same if management came down on them. I told them to say I made the call, and it was to me, not my cowhawkers, to take responsibility. I guess a silver tongue when taking to higher ups. I just always explained it as I'm trying to protect us department from D&D product we wanted and throw away at end kilogram shift health code violations. Since Costco hates working employees overtime, once our shift is over we need to be out. If we failed to sanitize in time, the manager on duty would need to finish on. Sometimes they don't understand the process that needs to occur for full sanitation. Back to the point, don't order the beef brisket, it's a full grease basket. I work at a franchised Wendy's. I should say that none of the food is outright bad, though there are some foods that you should order in a specific way. Unlike McDonald's, we cook all of our meat on a grill and all of our meals are actually as fresh as can be. We don't freeze our meat, veggies, or anything other than some sauces, chicken nuggets, fish, and fries. The thing is, all of those foods are fried foods. Freezing them doesn't matter as much as the more temperamental foods such as burgers and salads. Wendy's serves a lot of food. Choosing what to order and what not to order depends on who you want to please. If you want to make life easier for the workers, please don't order triples. We are only supposed to have 2 rows of 4 burgers per type of burger. The 2 types of burgers we make, singles and juniors, are what we put on our burgers. The singles take 8 minutes to make at a minimum on the standard Wendy's grill, whilst juniors only take between 2/4 minutes. Ordering triplets is hard on the grill guy, and if the restaurant is busy, you might risk getting less than well done meat. The meat will still be edible by all means, but it might be a little red inside. Point. If you're trying to not eat anything gross, I can't honestly say there is anything that is gross. We put a lot of effort into making the highest quality food that we can with the ingredients we have. I take a lot of pride in the food that I serve, and I can speak for my crew when I say the same. Though if you order a triple past dining room close, we won't be the most pleased of people. Point. When it comes to fries, unless you want to risk getting old fries, ask for fresh fries. They take less than 3 minutes to cook, and it's definitely worth it. Point overall, don't be afraid of ordering Wendy's. Just make sure that you are specific about what you want. You can ask your food to be cooked to your liking. Not many people know about that, but we do work to make great food for you. Unless you go to a shitty Wendy's, the majority of us give a shit about not making something terrible. Usually for a variety of reasons, but personally because the food I serve you is something I've made and that you trust to put in your body. That's neat to me at least. Point TLDR. Don't order triples past dining room close. Ask for fresh fries. Remember that we are serving your meal. Be patient. Former fast food worker here. Don't ask for fresh chips/fries, they're fresh. We're in rush hour. They're selling so fast that the chips they're likely only just finished cooking. All you're doing is making us put on an unnecessary amount of fries and making yourself wait for another 5 minutes. Don't order 50 pieces of chicken from a mall food court store, and especially don't complain that you have to wait for it. You think they just have hundreds of pieces fresh waiting for people? How much chicken do you think we sell? And no, you can't have only breast pieces, no wings in your giant bucket of assorted pieces. Chickens have wings. Go fuck yourself. Point. Don't ask for things we don't have. Don't get mad when a chicken place doesn't do hamburgers. Don't yell at us for false advertising because you saw a McDonald's commercial and thought that meant all fast food stores would have a McDouble for some strange faking reason. Point. Don't order a snack box and complain that it's small. It's called a snack box, and you paid like $2 for it. Were you expecting a feast when they have those dumb pita grill things with like 1,000 ingredients? Don't order them. They take like 5 minutes to assemble, grill and slice, and not only do you have to wait a ridiculous amount of time for your food, but then the people behind you get all grumpy because they had to wait longer too. Also, we get timed on how long it takes us to serve people. So at the end of our shift, we get beached at for not taking 30 seconds to make an extremely complicated pita thing. That's also probably why a lot of times you get burgers at McDonald's or similar. They're just kinda tossed together. Blame customers complaining about food taking longer than a minute, and corporate for that one point. Don't come in and ask for us to give you a free box of wet wipes. Those things cost us money. Why would we literally give you 1,000 wet wipes for free? That's idiocy. Don't ask to buy the person serving you's hat. We are not that hard up for cash that we'll give you the hat off our head and the shirt off our back for $5. They make us pay for our uniform anyway, and it cost a lot more than what you're offering. Don't ask us to give you a bunch of free chip boxes because my son doesn't eat anything, not in a fast food container. That's your fault. Let him go hungry until he learns that he can't always get what he wants. If he's hungry, he'll eat what's on his plate. On the subject of parenting, stop ordering 1.35 LT bottles of energy drink for your 3-year-olds. That's faking disgusting. You're literally killing your child. Not that you weren't already, by buying them a man-sized fast food meal. Also child related. Quit putting them up on the bench where the food goes, and if your kid can't eat everything, don't come back and lie and say it tasted funny. We all know a 4-year-old little girl can't eat 2 burgers. You were the one dumb enough to buy her 2. You're not getting a refund. What else? Don't order cakes from most fast food places, since they were frozen and probably won't taste good. And don't order a ridiculously huge meal minutes before closing. Avoid Subways ran/owned by Indians, mainly cause you'll have to hassle the employee by repeatedly saying more, because we are forced to put the bare minimum on the sandwich. You can tell it's ran by them by how the employees dress your sandwich. If they only put 6 pickles on your footlong, it's ran by an Indian. That is all you're technically supposed to put on, but most managers/franchise owners realize that's not enough and will only enforce it when corporate is around. The reason I say to avoid these types of Subways is based on my personal experience. My first job was at Subway, and it was ran by a white guy, and it was ran good. But I had to transfer to a different Subway because I wasn't getting enough hours to stay in my co-op program in high school. This one was ran by an Indian. He would purposely order the bare minimum for the veggies so that corporate wouldn't get suspicious, and then would buy veggies from Walmart or somewhere to supplement our supply. This is bad, because if there is a recall on one of the veggies from Walmart, then either we won't know about it or won't know which is which, and he definitely ain't gonna throw them all away. He also one time ran out of a couple of the bottled sodas, so he bought 16 Aussies instead of 20 Aussies and still charged the price for the 20 ounces. If you got the tuna sandwich, it was mostly mayo, because mayo is cheaper than tuna. We would stretch the sheet out of the tuna. I think we rolled back dates on the meats so that we wouldn't have to toss it out. I know not to eat there cause I know they don't wash the containers out as often as they're supposed to. Worked at Tim Hortons a while ago. While the corporate motto is make less, more often, this was definitely not the case here. The baked goods were only supposed to be sold within 4 hours, and if you came in during the morning rush, obviously everything would be fresh. However, anything not sold would stick around until it was sold. This could mean 8+ hours of it sitting there, and it would be pretty obvious to those that know, because the frosting and stuff would become very crumbly after a while. Whether or not that really matters will depend on your take for the next part. The boxes that everything come in has the ingredients and almost nothing was organic, even in part. Lots of chemicals that I can only assume are preservatives. The soup tastes like chemicals more than anything else. During the few months that I worked there, we had a fly infestation because the managers were too cheap to turn on the AC and left the doors open all the time. They refused to do anything about the fly infestation, even while there were flies crawling all over the baked goods. The regional manager came and decided that it was not an issue. Coffee was rarely thrown out, but it was largely dependent on the managers. It was only supposed to be kept for 30 minutes after being brewed, but it was very common that at night, when there are less customers ordering coffee, that it would be left out for much longer than that. I'd like to rant for a moment. Many go out to eat and despise something prepared as fast food. What drives me bonkers is not knowing that everything is packaged. You think that the cows are slaughtered in the backyard of a fine dining restaurant compared to a dollar menu? It's all done in some warehouse/slaughterhouse, so businesses can feed thousands of people a week at a time. Barely anything is really fresh. The same food you get at a restaurant you can get in a can/frozen dinner/deli at the supermarket, and even that's not true fresh. It's as close as we can get. We're all paying for presentation. All food is food. Calories, carbs, proteins, and preservatives in one way or another. Yes, I'm generalizing and I love a nice gourmet meal just like everyone. I just can't stand to think that anything is fresh except the stuff you grow yourself, pick yourself that day or slaughter yourself. We live in a mass consumption society and no one, except those that either pay hundreds of dollars per meal or someone off the grid and living off the land can get that. And even those $100 meals are being taken at the word of someone else. Now, excuse me as I eat the 69-cent frozen burrito that I bought on sale at Vons. Domino's here. If you order late, more than likely I'll have some dough that's already been slapped out and has been sitting getting crusty. You better believe I'm gonna use that sheet. If you order for carry out, you'll pay significantly less, like $7 for a pepperoni instead of delivery, where our coupons don't apply. If we are really busy, your food is sitting under the heat lamps until our driver can get to your order. If you don't ask for coupons on the phone, I'm not going to give them to you. You're mad and are taking your business elsewhere. I don't care. Baseless threat. In fact, I'm glad. Everything is made to order generally should be a good time if we are not slammed. I genuinely want all you pleasant folks to enjoy your pizza. If you don't tip, I will remember you and will go out if my way to take my time or even take someone else's food to them first, even if you ordered 10 minutes prior to them. Treat me right and I'll hook you up. I always remember the good folks and will give out free credits and great service to you. If you are rude or don't tip me, I won't fuck with your food or anything, but I'm not doing anything extra. I think I need to take a sheet before I deliver your food. It can sit under the rack for another 15 minutes when I take care of business. Oh, you're calling and I see your name on caller ID. Damn, let the phone ring. I accidentally hung up on you or you're breaking up, sir. Generally I'm nice and will help you out, but if you're a dick. I legit registered to Reddit solely to contribute to this thread. Not sure if it counts, really, but I worked at the service deli and bakery of two different subsidiaries of two major grocery stores, Safeway and Kroger. I worked at Vons and Ralph's, respectively, for their bakeries. Unless you are buying their donuts, bagels, or cupcakes/sweets displayed on the counter, don't bother unless they've been baked in front of you/you get the bagels or donuts when they are wheeled out in the morning, which is about an hour after opening. If you go in right after the store opens, you're eating a bagel that's been sitting out all night and has been poured at by dozens of people before they've been taken away. Also, we make little to nothing on our own. Everything is frozen or pre-packaged. A lot of our soups or hot sides that aren't in the hot case come out of bags. Nothing is made from scratch. By the way, if you really want any of the hot sides from Ralph's/Kroger/Fry/whatever's hot case, just buy the Stalfer's version on the frozen aisle. You're literally buying the same thing, since we use Stalfer's lasagna, meatballs, scalloped potatoes, mac and cheese, mac and beef, etc. for it. The only difference is those frozen boxes haven't been sitting under heat lamps all day and haven't had sheet added to it to make it look fresh. As for the chicken, fresh chicken only comes out on an hourly basis, and if you don't buy it then you'll be buying old and dried out chicken. So even though your deli clerk will wish death upon you and your loved ones for asking, ask specifically for the chicken that was being packaged right in front of you. TLDR, save your money and buy the sheet on the aisles. We are ripping you off and pretending it's our own secret recipe about 95% of the time. 7/11 hot dogs. Seriously, stay away from the hot dogs during bar rush time frame. About 15 years ago, the kitchen crew decided to have some bonding time at the clubs/bars/lounges in town. At the time I was a lonely dishwasher, and at the time I'm all in being accepted by the rest of the crew to a point I was, but I needed to learn the ways of the industry. Near the beginning of the night, head chef tells me that after clubs are closed we will grab a hot dog for the way home. I'm thinking sweet, some bonding time. Night goes past, numerous rounds of drinks are consumed by all, things begin to get hazy, and we finally make it to 7/11. Standing in front of the hot dog grill, my stomach drops as I refuse to order the hot dog. Head chef convinces me to eat it if he buys it, so I load up the hot dog with all the fixings, and in my drunken state am all satisfied as I consume the Hot dog as we part ways, head chef takes my number and says he will call me to make sure I make it home safe. I think awesome, I have been accepted by the crew less than 3 blocks from separating from head chef. My balls start rumbling and yup, I have to run like a bat out of hell home, just make it home to the crapper in time to worship the porcelain gods, which time the phone rings from head chef asking how I'm doing. Yeah, some choice words were had with laughs. 15 years later I'm still on good terms with head chef and it's our dirty little secret that bonded us, yet can't look at hot dogs and 7/11 the same weird time frame. This isn't what you would consider fast food because it's a sit-down restaurant, but Applebee's is incredibly bad. I classify Applebee's as fast food because not of their items are pre-made, not prepared and ready to assemble, but flat out pre-made. First off, the way they treat their employees is a goddamn joke. There are 2 tiers of people, management and pawns. Managers are encouraged to spy on each other and turn each other in for fear of losing their own job as it's found out they even heard a rumor of something. Everyone else, fuck, it's feeding time at the fish pond. Servers or cooks, those are the only 2 types of employees they have. There are no bussers, there are no dishwashers, there are no hosts, there are no prep cooks. The servers are to host, bus, wash dishes, prep food for server side, and this literally includes portioning out desserts, salads, croutons, sauces, etc. I'm not saying a server is above this work, but having a prep cook do all this creates consistency, not to mention you have someone as an oh shit person when you run out. I got yelled at for putting 3 croutons on a salad instead of 2. I'm not making this up. The cooks prep all of the food for microwave use. They boil all the noodles in the morning and within 1/8 of an ounce portion it out the bags with some water for microwaving. They throw the chicken on the super hot grill to give it grill marks, then cut it up to precise measurements of weight, add water, goes in a bag for microwaving and finishing when ordered. Chicken takes 8 minutes to cool. In other words, get the center to 164 30 seconds. I put in a chick Caesar salad and it was out in 2 minutes. I literally didn't get back to the table because I was closing check and getting a refill and they had their food. The woman who ordered seemed sketched as she knew the cooling time of chicken. I shrugged and said it's Applebee's. I was on my way out. Only thing they can't fake there are the steaks and wings. Everything else is in a cannon ready to fire. It's fast food, I guarantee it. Worked at a leading American pizza delivery company that prides itself on its ingredients. I want to start out by saying that their claims regarding their better quality ingredients are totally true, and even after working there and learning every aspect of the food production process, I still have no qualms about ordering from them at all. However, never order onions on your pizza. The onions are kept in the mesh bag they arrive in and generally hung somewhere in the back of the store from a shelf with the other non-refrigerated ingredients, and no matter how much fly paper or traps we put out, those flies always were flying around and landing on the onions. I never once saw them do anything nastier than simply land on them, but still, that's enough to gross me out. Also, be careful ordering the specialty pizza, the one they rotate every 6 weeks or so. Ones with basic ingredients like the bacon cheeseburger pizza, mostly assembled from ingredients we already have for other style pizza, is fine, but ones that require special ingredients generally involve those ingredients being fake or low quality. At one point we had a pulled pork BBQ pizza that was decent tasting, but the pork was some of the lowest quality pork you could possibly find and had an absurdly large fat content. Also, the steak for the Philly cheesesteak pizza said something like soy-enriched steak product on the box it came in, which turned me off to it. But those few things aside, the quality there truly is what they claim it to be, so please just make wise decisions when ordering. Edit. I just realized that if the flies only touch the onions and perhaps the heat from the oven kills the bacteria they leave behind, so theoretically they're fine. But it still grosses me out. Ex-Pizza Hut worker here. Disclaimer, I haven't worked there in a year, and their menu items change quite a bit. So most all of their stuff is, surprisingly, pretty fresh. The dough is brought in frozen but uncooked, so they thaw it and let it rise. Yes, it's actually East dough, right there in the store. The ingredients all have pretty short amounts of time that they're allowed to be kept after opening, and they are always refrigerated. Even the make line, as we called it, where the ingredients are put out to be used, is refrigerated from below and is closed up when not in use. The meat ingredients are pre-cooked and can be thawed something for a week or less, depending on which one, before they have to be thrown away. The veggies mostly have a shorter shelf life but are, believe it or not, pretty much all fresh. Like, when we ran out, someone could go to the grocery store and get more, and it wouldn't make a difference. The only thing that's obviously not fresh are the pasta sauces, which come frozen in bags and are thawed out based on demand. They are never more than 3 days old and always refrigerated, but the meat sauce in particular is kinda grassy and reminiscent of something that comes in a can. Also, if you get the spaghetti, it's cooked in the microwave instead of the oven. The marinara sauce is also stored in what's basically a slow cooker all day, but it stays hot enough to not go bad and the leftover gets thrown out at night. The only thing I'd really advise against are the personal pastas, but only because they're really cost inefficient. Just go up a size point if you feel like being nice to the crew. The freaking sandwiches are a real pitta if the store is busy. They're delicious, and made with mostly fresh ingredients apart from the frozen bun, but they take forever to make if you have to also make pizzas. If you order a bunch of them, don't expect your order to be coming out soon. 122 isn't bad I guess, but people would have orders of 5+ sandwiches and they just messed up the whole routine. If the store is slow, though, they're actually one of the fastest things on the menu to make. The various crusts with little cheese modules around the edge, like the Cheesy Bites awesome variant of, are super tedious to make. The Cheesy Bites crust itself is literally just a stuffed crust that's been cut into segments, which are then turned sideways. Regular stuffed crust isn't too bad though, that's just sticks of string cheese rolled into the edge of the hand-tossed dough. Those personal pastas, if you order them for dine-in, they are brought out in ceramic bowls instead of the metal tins like the larger sizes, and they are really annoying to clean, especially if you leave half of your food in them. Ugh. Former Jason's deli worker. I would say, when I worked there, that we all really took pride in what we made. I can speak for myself, and most of the other line cooks, that we wouldn't put something out that we wouldn't eat ourselves. I personally have had to rejected food from teenage cooks / whoever to make sure that the customer got a good experience. Honestly, this just pays off in the long run, even if we lose a buck here or there once in a while. That being said, there were definitely times to come when you wanted the most fresh food. I'll just give some tips about salad bars, because most everything has been mentioned. For salad bars, come morning, right before the lunch rush. That when the salad bar looks immaculate and is the freshest, we cut vegetables in the morning. No dirty kid hands, or adult for that matter, have been on or near the food. I have literally seen full-grown adults put their hands into a bin of olives, lick their finger, and start again before I stop them. If you can't come before the lunch rush, then try to hit that right before dinner. Again, for the same reasons, a messy salad bar or an unstocked one is never a good sign. It can show that no one cares to keep it clean, so the food may be subpar. Emphasis being messy children / adults destroying that thing after one plate, but it is usually a good rule of thumb. Unless there is a serious shortage of lettuce on the planet, that is the one thing that should always be full. Other missing items can be a sign of bad food management, which again can be a bad sign. Make sure the salad bar is cold, like cold to the touch cold. Don't stick your D&K in the dang thing, but there should definitely be some chill coming from a working refrigeration system. 40°F or below. For things that should be cold, lukewarm is a serious no-no. Ask for your money back and leave. I think we had to replace our system twice, or over 2 years, because of it not chilling correctly. Again, we actually cared. McDonald's here. I'll include a few bonuses at the end that are actually smart / good to do. Things we hate. Don't make us do no salt fries. We have to pour the fries fresh out of the insanely hot oil directly from the basket into the box, and it burns the ever-living sheet out of our hands. Sometimes McCafe smoothies and milkshakes. Milkshakes simply take forever to pour, and our machines oftentimes overfill them and make a mess if we don't watch it like a hawk. Same for smoothies, min is the overfilling. Happy Meals. Now don't get me wrong, they aren't all bad, but it really depends on the way a person orders it. For example, here a Happy Meal comes with an entree B, a small fries or apple slices C, a yogurt tube D, a drink of their choice CE, a toy point. Some people say exactly what they want down to the type of drink. The ones we hate will order a Happy Meal and then continue their order like we know exactly what they want. We have more than one type of Happy Meal. For these people we need to ask for every single item, and it takes a million years. Anyways, negativity aside, here are a couple McDonald's pro tips. Don't order Big Macs. Order a McDouble like a Mac instead. The meat we use is the same size, and it will save you a few bucks. Most places will let you pay for a middle bun on the side if you want it just like a Big Mac, and still works out to be significantly cheaper. If you don't like processed cheese, ask them to sub the cheese for Monterey Jack. It doesn't charge anything more, and it's better because it's real cheese. Once you go Jack, you'll never go back. I work at Pizza Hut and we use dough that is up to 4 days past expiration date or until sold. If we are short on dough we use unproofed semi-frozen dough. We constantly drop cooking utensils and don't wash them unless manager sees the delivery drivers eat toppings off of the pizzas with their bare hands as they are being delivered to the house. We cut a thin slice out of the middle of customer pizzas so we can eat some and push the remaining sides together. The pizza preparation pans are covered in black mold as well. Yes, all of them. We never use gloves or wash hands when handling raw wings then go to make pizzas. A lot of the drivers write their own tips in on credit card slip when the customer doesn't want their copy, so they have no proof that they didn't write a tip in. This is especially effective when delivering to the lower class people. When the pizza makers forget a topping they just put that topping through the oven by itself and throw on top of already cooked pizza. Nothing is ever rotated in the freezers or fridges or prep area. We just put new toppings on top of old toppings in same container and just change the dates. The only thing I would ever order from Pizza Hut is a cookie because it's freaking delicious. Be safe and get a DiGiorno instead. I work at a McDonald's. Don't order fries within 30 minutes of the store closing. The fry basket is hard to clean and we like to start early. If you're coming through the drive-thru, don't order more than 2 meals. If you're picking up food for other people then please just come inside. Point frappes or smoothies, at least from rural stores. They don't clean the machines as much as stores with more traffic and those things can get really gross. Anything off of other restaurants' menus. If you want something similar you can ask if we have anything like it, but you'll likely confuse some poor cashier or get something you didn't really want. Point don't order grilled chicken if you're in rush. It takes 7 minutes to cook, and chances are that, unless you come at peak hours, we don't have any made. Point fries without salt during peak hours. If you can't have the salt for health reasons then you really shouldn't be eating the potatoes anyway. If you just want fresh fries, they are going to be fresh during the lunch rush. It might surprise you, but other people tend to want fries too. Point iced coffee after 1 PM. If your store is in a high traffic area it might be alright, but after about 1 PM the coffee tastes stale and watered down. We double brew it, but the canister sits in aren't refrigerated or anything. Point breakfast burritos. The filling comes in a bag. We just put it in a tortilla along with a slice of cheese and microwave it. Although to be honest, they're still one of my favorite breakfast items. Point muffin or sausage egg muffin during the dinner rush. If you're doing it at lunch chances are the breakfast crew is still there and can juggle it well enough. At night we cook all eggs to order and they take 3 minutes minimum. Do order a cookie tote. We bake 13 cookies fresh and it only takes like 2 minutes. I love it when people order these things because it makes the entire kitchen smell like cookies. I don't think a lot of people realize we do this lads. I just really enjoy making these to be honest, plus I think both are hot and iced lattes are pretty good. Point fresh fries. Don't be passive aggressive and order them with no salt. If you want fresh fries just ask for them. We really don't mind. Point fresh coffee at nighttime. We don't mind making it and we'll give you free refills as long as you're there. Former Starbucks employee here. I can still hear the screams when I go to sleep. Point don't order anything with steamed milk. I'm serious. After every use, we were required to let the steamer run for 2 seconds before steaming more milk. However, during the rush periods, you're mostly 16 to 24-year-old baristas. The people older than that were almost invariably grown as adults who peaked in high school, but I turned 25 while working there, so I guess I count. We'll either forget to let the nozzle run, or we'll run it for a moment with a towel, soaked in sanitary fluid draped over it. So most likely there is either hours old milk or sanitary fluid in your lat. Don't order anything from the Clover machine. You are technically supposed to wipe and then rinse the Clover machine before brewing coffee in it. Most people actually rinse it first and then wipe it down with, you guessed it, a towel soaked in sanitary fluid, the same fluid used to clean counters and the nozzle on milk steamers. The more sophisticated stores will have special sanitary napkins that come out of a box. The cleaning fluid will still end up in your Clover Sumatra. Don't order anything decaf unless it's poured over. During rush period, baristas will accidentally press the caffeinated option on the espresso machine out of habit. Decaf drip coffee is always stored in a pitcher that sits out for hours. The specialty frappuccinos have roughly the same sugar content as a 1-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. Yes, you read that right. Are always made with whole milk and with whipped cream on top. The lighter options have as much sugar as half a liter. Worked at back for around 8 months. Don't F anything. Meat is cooked and then left in warmers that eventually turn it rancid. We were told to still serve it, even if it was slow, and we had time to cook more. Same goes for any and all specialty products, nuggets, chicken fries, etc. French fries left in the warmer until they were gone, shoveled into a basket, and dropped in oil if you wanted fresh fries. Oh, and one time my manager pulled a basket of fresh fries too early. They were still frozen and soggy and she served them anyway. Cross-contamination was a huge deal. Our broiler was faked up, so meat wouldn't cook all the way through. Raw meat would come out with cooked meat and some people would just pick the raw meat out of the pan and serve the rest. Constantly out of product. Never had BBQ sauce. Regularly ran out of fries. And we ran out of gloves all the time. So some people wore the same pair of gloves for their entire 8+ hour shift. All in all it was a shit job, but that's because management was horrible. I think the quality of food depends on the store and you can't condemn all Burger Kings. Though bad food seems to be a reoccurring theme. Way late to this party, but I'm a baker at a British version of a 7/11. Our adverts suggest our bread etc. is cooked fresh in store every day. Whilst this is technically correct, the stuff comes in pre-cooked and frozen on a delivery truck in big boxes. We just dig out our required quantities for the day and bake it in our oven. Our pies/slices/chicken etc. are cooked from frozen raw, but are not made from scratch. Also ignore the food hygiene rating on the doors. In order to get a perfect score, EHOs have to wade through mountains of paperwork to make sure we are temperature checking, cleaning etc. In my store, we do temperature checks so everything is legit, but I do know stores that don't. They just fill in the paperwork to make it look like they do. This also goes for bakery cleanliness too. We are supposed to strip down and clean everything every single day, but we don't have the staff or the time to do so. So just do a basic clean/mop/sweep each day instead. Well, I do. I can't speak for my colleagues though. There has been times when I've gone into work for my shift and the bakery has been left in a filthy mess by a colleague. Nothing's going to kill you in my store like some of the stores here, but personally I won't eat anything from my hot food counter unless it's been cooked by me. Worked at Kroger in the bakery. Nothing in there is too terrible, but almost nothing is actually super fresh. The breads can be a week old at most or worse. I've caught us trying to put out bread with mold starting to develop on it, and most of the cakes are frozen stuff that's been ready to go for absolutely forever. In all likelihood they've been left to sit out all day and have thawed, and go back in the freezer every night. Not exactly how it's supposed to be done, but it happened frequently anyways. They get a little nasty after a couple months. Tortillas are okay. They're actually usually made in that store. Slight chance they'll taste like ashes through. Anything like cupcakes or whatever in a display case are usually pretty old, but kept cool enough and are made out of shitty enough ingredients that you'd never be able to tell. Buddy of mine who worked in the deli next door, which I wasn't a part of, so I don't know of their operations that well, got in trouble for reporting some people for recycling the same meat over and over every day. Apparently they just put the same stuff out every day. I think that's why we have an awful problem with flies. Sorry for not having any they piss in your food level shenanigans to report. I guess it is generic grocery store food, so what do you expect, right? For all I know, everything I've said is completely normal. Still seems sorta gross though. So at McDonald's, at least where I worked, the kitchen has two sides, grill and chicken. Grill is anything with a burger. This includes whatever promotional burger is running at the time. Standard stuff. It's constantly being prepared, so usually it's available instantly, but you may get something that's been sitting around a while. Chicken, name not accurate, covers everything else. This includes your nuggets, legends, mayos, selects, or wraps, deli sandwiches, salads, fish fillets, veggie burgers, onion rings and more. And it's made to order, meaning that as soon as it's in the till, it comes up on a little screen in the kitchen, ready to be made. This is good because it's guaranteed to be fresh, but when it's busy and queues are long, orders stack up very quickly, and if you've ordered something unusual like a veggie burger, whoever's in the kitchen will prioritize that beneath everything else because the staff have had less practice making it. Its ingredients will usually be in storage or the freezer somewhere, and stuff like nuggets can be made en masse to fulfill loads of orders at the same time, whereas one veggie burger doesn't alleviate much pressure on till side. Alternatively, when it's busy, the burgers sitting on the hot stand are going to be constantly fresh, probably prepared within 30 seconds of you receiving it, so they're the way to go. So yeah. Burgers will always be instant, but may be stale, and chicken will be guaranteed fresh, but you may be waiting a while. Once worked at a Subway. I'd avoid the crab, or whatever they call it. It's some weird blend of sheet fish and filler, and since it doesn't get ordered often it's probably been out all day, or a few days. Also worked at a Taco Bell once upon a time. You're usually pretty okay with whatever, except during the morning, and many do breakfast now. But we didn't back then, and late nights. Whatever you get in the mornings is typically yesterday's leftovers, with the exception of the rice, and the stuff after dinner rushes isn't usually fresh. Particularly the chalupas and other fried sheet. You're supposed to replace them every so often, but the bosses are often cheap fakers, and get mad if you try and throw old sheet out. I've also seen people change labels for sheet that was a week old, including poultry. Dunno, it's like playing Russian roulette with your GI tract really, I guess. Generally speaking, joints that see a lot of business go through more material by necessity, meaning generally fresher food, and so there is less risk of but destruction. Just remember that like anything else you often get what you pay for, or less. Does anybody still know of Shakey's Pizza? I worked there in college years ago. The mojos were like Russian roulette. If you don't know, mojos are thick slices of potato that were battered and then deep fried. The potatoes were pulled from the bag and thrown into the slicer. We never washed them at all. But it's okay. They were sliced and dropped straight into big trash cans filled with water. So they sorta got rinsed off. But that's not the bad part. The bad part is, we would have 5 full trash cans full of water and unwashed potatoes. We would rotate first in, first out, which was fine when we were busy, but when things got slow, those tatters would sit there stewing in their own juices for days. And days it didn't matter, we didn't care. We'd fish these mushy black potatoes out of the soup, throw them into the batter and deep fry them. Yum. Never once in 2 years there did anyone ever complain or send back the mojos. I guess by the time they're battered, deep fried and dipped in ketchup, it doesn't really matter what the potatoes themselves looked like. But they were foul. Not a Arby's worker here. I work in the Colorado Springs area. Most of the Midwest Arby's are owned by the same company, US Beef Corp. This means every store I've been to does this stuff, but I don't know if they do it outside of US Beef Corp owned Arby's. Anyways, a few things. Please do yourself and us a favor and don't order fried foods. Specifically chicken sandwiches / chicken tenders, or even the potato cakes. They take 5+ minutes to make. You might be fine with that. However, if a single order takes more than 2 minutes to go out, none of our workers get a bonus for that entire month. So to skip around this, a lot of the Arby stores I've been to will just make a bunch of chicken 11 AM and then keep it there until it gets sold. This means if you go there at 5 PM and order a chicken sandwich, there's a pretty good chance you're getting food that was cooked 6 hours ago. The chicken goes bad after 30 minutes. I've even seen some general managers that'll keep chicken around for a day or two, so they don't waste product. Same thing with potato cakes, fries, just about anything. If you get your chicken sandwich in 2 minutes, you're probably getting old chicken. Another thing, most stores I've been to skimp you out of meat on your sandwiches. That is a classic. Sandwich is supposed to get 3 ounces of meat. There's a good chance that you're really getting 2 or 2.5 ounces. Not a big deal to most people, just a heads up. Don't order a plus sauce off of the kids meal if your store is offering it. Currently got recalled because some kids were getting sick. We were told not to sell it anymore, but I know of some managers that sell it regardless. Don't drink RT. Most stores don't clean the ends correctly, and it gets really moldy. Same goes for the AU just sauce that comes with the French dip. If you wanna eat healthy, obviously not eating fast food is a good start. But don't order our market fresh turkey sandwiches. They are literally the most unhealthy sandwiches we offer in terms of fat/calories. Also just in general, we get inspected about once a month, but it's more or less for show. No matter what, a store will always get 90% or more, just because it looks better for everyone. So don't rely on that. Anyways, things that are always good to eat. Any promotional items/new sandwiches. Gyros, fish sandwiches, spicy brisket. Roast beef is always fine, as long as you're okay with getting less meat than you're supposed to. Chicken is okay if you wanna wait 5+ minimums, but I swear to God, if you come to my store and order a chicken sandwich past 8 PM, you will make me want to shoot myself. It's just annoying for everyone. Worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for a while. There's nothing that's like gross or nasty, but here's some general information. Even the franchised restaurants get visited by corporate occasionally. Cleanliness and proper food handling is always a priority. Some of the cleanest kitchens I've ever seen point the grilled chicken and chicken wings are never frozen and always cooked fresh. They also take longer to cook because salmonella. The grilled chicken that goes in wraps is pre-cooked and pre-diced and heated when needed. Point the burgers and just about everything else on the menu come frozen. That's why they don't do temperatures on the burgers. Almost everything goes into a fryer, although they have a grilled for certain items. See, grilled chicken, burger patties. BWW uses beef tallow for frying. This is very unhealthy. Also, it tastes better than vegetable oil. I used to worried about Indian folks who came in to eat wings. I always wanted to tell them that everything is fried in beef fat. I thought it best not to assume anything and kept my mouth shut. Still worried me. Point the samplers are the hardest item for the kitchen to make because they take items from multiple stations, fryer/grill/etc. They are advertised as appetizers, but I rarely saw one take less than 12 minutes to finish. At the locations I experienced, the kitchens were open right up until closing time. With that in mind, the kitchen starts cleaning up and shutting down the grill and so on as soon as they can because they want to go home. Ordering food after about 30 minutes before close irritates servers and kitchen alike. If you have to order something, get something that can be cooked in a fryer, as they are the last appliances to get shut down for the night. Grill goes first. Point wing fry times are as follows, roughly. Regular wings 12 to 14 minutes, extra crispy 15 to 18 minutes, cooked hard 20 to 22 minutes. This does not include the time it takes for the server to ring in the order and the time it takes for the kitchen to get to the order. I hated when people ordered extra crispy wings and complained when they weren't out in 10 minutes. If you order cooked hard, you should be prepared to wait 30 minutes. I guess that's all I have to say about that. Mellow Mushroom prep/cook here. Point there are lots of good things to order at Mellow Mushroom, but also some specific things that I'd advise you not to order. Firstly, the pizza toppings. I don't need to delve into dough, sauce, cheese or anything like that. It's all basic. We get our dough shipped in from our headquarters. We make 2 small batches of sauce a day. We only make 2 batches a day because that way all the ingredients, tomato sauce, tomato paste, olive oil, water, pizza seasoning, can be combined together equally and make the sauce taste as good as possible. The meats are relatively good quality. The steak is kept frozen until the morning shift. We take it out of its package and separate the steak into portions and then keep them in the fridge until needed to grill. Chicken is kept in our walk-in, seasoned with salt and pepper, before being baked in the oven. We cook our own bacon on site, have our own cookie dough, and make the cookies from scratch. Point for our menu: I'll give my input on the items I like to get and the ones I'd stay away from. Pizza. Definitely go for the house special, as it is one of the most frequently ordered pies. Whatever a restaurant is known for, it'll keep pumping out the good stuff and focus on it instead of the side items, like other pizzas in this case. Mighty Meaty is the typical meats pizza, really good if I do say so myself. Point also go for Gourmet White. If you don't want red sauce, it's a solid alternative. Cosmic Karma, very basic and simple ingredients, hard to fuck up. Tastes very light. Magical Mystery Tour. I don't prefer the pickled jalapenos we use. Get it without them, and you got yourself a decent pie. Funky Q Chicken. Bacon made on site. Chicken baked/grilled on site. Caramelized onions grilled on site. Holy shit, I take pie. Everything on this pie is good quality. Even the truffle oil and chives. Tie-dye. If you like something sweet, Mediterranean. My personal favorite. Not too strong anywhere, allowing you to taste the ingredients. Philosopher's Pie. Good cuts of steak. Buffalo chicken. Already said it. Good on-site chicken. The bad. Maui wowie. Pineapple. Red skin potato pie. Red potatoes are frozen, not freshly seasoned and preserved each day. Bio Blue. Grilled shrimp and oil sausage are both kept frozen. Don't order this. Mega veggie. Personally, I think this pizza is like an abortion, all wet and runny. For sandwiches, stay away from anything with the tempeh, tofu, shrimp and the ryuban. The sauerkraut ain't good. Point. We only have 5 salads. All of them are good. None of the ingredients are low quality. Point. Appetizers. Only go for the pretzels, bruschetta, stuffed portobello, meatball trio and the capri. Point. Everything else on the appetizer list comes in a bag or is frozen. Wings. In my experience, it's not what you should never order as much as when. Most of the food is decent, for our standards, at least, but check the hours before you go. If you show up within 30 minutes of close, not only are you going to annoy everyone inside the store, but you're playing about a 50/50 gamble between fresh and really old and/or cheating food. By that time in the night, unless we just got destroyed by rushes, everyone's either already got their stations cleaned up and shut down, or are frantically trying to get there. No one wants to re-clean more than they have to, so that burger you're ordering, you might luck out and get a fresh one we cooked 5 minutes ago, right before we started cleaning the grill. Or you might get one that's several hours old, because we get in trouble for wasting food and the grill's already clean. Or if we are out of prepared versions of something, we know a lot of improper ways to cook things. All that goes double for 10 minutes before close. We might have to cook everything fresh and take an extra 5 or so minutes to get the food out because nothing's ready and everything is shut down. Or you might get deep fried burgers because everything is already thrown away for the night. And the people inside definitely hate your guts, which is never a good quality for the people making your food. And maybe don't show up within 30 minutes of opening and act surprised when I don't have all your food for your 4 combo order ready in 3 minutes. Very little is prepped and ready by that time either. Ex-KFC UK worker here. Don't order Fanta, Coke or Sprite from us. I have had more than one customer cancel an entire £40 order just because we have Pepsi, not Coke. Oh, and please don't come in and ask for just 6 hash browns. The hash browns are mostly used for the tower burgers and most days, at a semi-regularly busy restaurant, we make 6 at a time. So when you order them all to eat on their own, it makes life more difficult for us and the next customer coming in wanting a tower burger. Some people were a little grossed out to find out that the beloved KFC gravy is made with the grease and crap we scrape out from the bottom of the fryers once a day, though it is essentially the same as making gravy from the crap that comes from a roast chicken. It is also frustrating to get orders from people who want an excessive ungodly amount of sauces in their burgers. An example, we had one regular who would order a Zinger Tower burger with something like 10 extra helpings of pepper mayo and 10 extra helpings of salsa. By the time it was made, it was just some slippery saucy monstrosity that had to be contained in 3 stacked burger boxes, wrapped in multiple paper bags and double plastic bagged. The guy would also talk non-stop to whoever was on front of house and would have the misfortune of accidentally catching his eye. Plus, he clearly hadn't bathed for some time. You could smell it across the counter, even above the smell of frying chicken. Other customers would actively stay away from him, and most of my coworkers would run to the back of the kitchens when they saw him coming. Though don't get me wrong, I felt kinda bad for the guy. I'm fairly sure he had some kind of learning disability and just wanted some company. I used to work at In-N-Out Burger through high school. Don't order a 3x3 or 4x4 or 20x20 or such. You're not setting a record, and it's just way more food than anyone really needs, and it's awful for you. As a vegetarian, I can tell you that the cheese is even fattier and worse for you than the meat, both of which were, admittedly, exceedingly fresh. I used to eat grilled cheeses all the time until I read the nutrition facts on the cheese. One time a man and his girlfriend came in and ordered a 20x20 and 12x12, respectively. The man had to be carried out. He was sweating profusely, quite obviously feeling very sick. It was really gross and such a waste. The record for the largest burger when I worked there in the late 90s was a 500x500, ordered by a fraternity. By the way, there is no secret menu. It's just all the same ingredients in different combinations. With 2 exceptions, hot peppers and pickles are available, but are nowhere on the menu. My info may be slightly outdated, but from when I worked there, NXM, N pieces of meat with M pieces of cheese. Flying Dutchman, double bud with the cheese facing in, meat cheese meat. Protein style, no bun, instead wrapped in a huge leaf of lettuce. Veggie burger, no patty, just the rest of the fillings. Grilled cheese, no patty, just the rest of the fillings plus cheese. Animal style, grilled mustard on the patty, chopped grilled onion, extra sauce, pickles, Neapolitan shake, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Other cool things you can order, whole grilled onion, really a whole slice of onion. Both kinds of onion, grilled and raw. 3 kinds of onion, grilled, chopped and whole, and raw. Grilled ketchup, tastes like BBQ sauce. Animal style fries, animal style toppings on fries. Not every store will do this. If they do it, then just order it during a quiet time, not during lunch rush. My favorite thing to order as a vegetarian, animal style veggie burger with all 3 kinds of onion. Unless the dressing person hears you order, they'll probably get the order wrong, just because of the way it gets entered into the system. So make sure someone either confirms with you or check for all 3 kinds of onion before you leave. My favorite thing to order as a vegan, animal style fries. Hold the sauce, edit to at, the onions are cooked on a different part of the grill than the meat. No cross contamination. Oh, and don't ever put a lemon wedge in your cup. Those things never get washed anywhere. As someone who worked a few fast food places up north and then moved to the south to repeat the process, I would say stay away from pretty much all fast food places in the south. The inspection laws are way more slack than they should be. Every place I worked at was disgusting, and it was just ignored and treated as normal. The front of the house looked great, but the back would have standing water in corners, grime everywhere, people smoking around the food. We even got the okay on inspections with these things going on. I would say cookout was definitely the worst offender. That said, I still ate the food because damn, is it ever delicious. The quesadillas are a ripoff. You need a microscope to see the amount of chicken in a chicken queso. But, again, tastabid heaven. I also worked at a couple Dunkin' Donuts, and I don't think there's anything on the menu that I would say should be avoided. It was all pretty good, and the reason the sandwiches take so long to get to you is because they actually make them right then and there. The worst time to get one would be in the morning, when it's really busy, because they cook in batches and use a hopper, but in the afternoon your sandwich is gonna be straight off the grill. I will warn you that the munchkins average out at about 70 to 100 calories per munchkin, and the flatbread sandwiches they advertise as the healthy option have more calories than some of the regular sandwiches. I used to make myself a ham sandwich with egg whites and reduced fat cheddar on an English muffin, and it was pretty tasty. Also, if you ask for the white cheddar on a sausage sandwich instead of the normal cheese, it tastes way better. Oh no. Shift manager at a nondescript family-style New England-based pizza restaurant. I like my job and want to keep it until I have at least a replacement job. What should you never order? I'd say the soda at a fast food place. It comes shipped in boxes as a thick, slimy liquid. It's then hooked into a line on a rack, where it's carbonated with filtered water. All filtering is done on site with industrial filters. Our company was one that had a health scare in the 90s, so everything is always immaculate, so there's no contamination risk, but our veggies have a food grade wax applied to them. Most foods like meat and cheese are frozen, and we use pre-shredded lettuce and pre-cooked rolls. In terms of freshness, everything is fresh, but it's all heavily preserved. This is universal at all fast food businesses. It won't give you food poisoning. Point bonus. It's universally accepted that if you ingest one of our heavier cheese products, mozzarella sticks, mac and cheese, extra cheese on pizza, you're gonna get an upset stomach because we give you so much goddamn cheese. You can avoid that by eating smaller portions. And it all tastes fucking amazing, but it makes you feel like you have a brick in your stomach. I wasn't going to sign in and add to the discussion, but after reading through the comments I thought I should add some important bits that we are left out. Subway's meatballs are cooked, microwaved, in a plastic bin, and after a month or two the bin needs replaced as it's literally evaporated. That is into the air. Meatballs. Sauce. Wendy's chili is made with the old leftover UN served burger meat. After it's sat in the plastic bins under a heater, sometimes for hours, all day, it's chopped up and soaked in water. Then packaged up in large plastic bags and stored in the freezer till used. Ever wonder why it's chewy or crunchy? Dave would be sad at what his company has become. I'll say yes, fast food places serve horrible products, GMO poison, MSG, etc. But what's worse is the people serving it. Before I left the fast food game for good I witnessed things. Unspeakable things that I will share here, because Reddit. Pubes mixed in with food, spit on everything, people having sex on prep tables, not cleaning up after, floor drops and served that way, piss in pickle buckets, fetching on food bearers, serving food straight from the trash or food count buckets, natural and unnatural items mixed in with sauces, pantsless male serving drive-through while jerking it and touching your food, women's hygiene products touching food, sandwiches down people's pants then served. There's more I could share, but I just puked in my mouth while remembering, so I'll stop there. Oops, I forgot to add info about Taco Hell, I mean Bell. Ever notice the crunchy, gristly bits in the beef? That's cowhide. The beef comes in big buckets with the cowhide mixed in. The better stores managers will pick out those bits, but some get missed. Other stores just don't care. Also, KFC don't buy anything with shredded chicken as it's the old leftover meat that's anywhere from a day to days old. I learned about this the hard way after puking, then trying it again at another store. Yep, I puked again. Took like 3 times for me to realize I should stay away.